Crimpy's Fishing Show. We're gone fishing.
Happy Saturday morning. Welcome back to News Talk ZB, of course. It is that time of the day once again. Fishing with Crimpy, and a very good morning, Mr. Darryl Crimp.
Very good morning, Mr. Reagan.
How are you today?
Oh, I'm rather fine. Pleased that I'm back from the other country.
Yeah, you went overseas and everything, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I had to get my what is it? Your passport out of mothballs. I was about to say I was going to get my moth out of passports, but I didn't. I got my passport out of mothballs. Went to Wellington for the weekend, and I tell you what a pleasant place that is when the wind is not blowing.
Oh, what do you mean when the wind is not blowing?
Well, there was a half-hour break there.
Yeah,
when it changed direction. But they're having, incidentally, an absolutely bumper of a summer season, which we're on the tail end of as well. And it's good to see that that's brought in the good fishing for them. The albacore tuna have come in strong over there, as they have here, and they're enjoying some great fishing. Blue nose, harpooker, snapper, kingfish. So it looks promising for around the traps.
It does look promising for around the traps. And season for surfcasters too.
Indeed.
Yeah.
With all this good summer weather. This is reminiscent of the weather that we had. You probably can't. Were you born in the 70s?
No.
Well, there you go. Back in the 70s when we lived on the farm and made hay, this is the kind of weather we had.
Oh, right.
Hay-making weather.
But it was black and white as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
The weather wasn't, no.
Oh,
Reagan,
right.
no. The show is in black and white. And so consequently, with all the settled weather and the great highs over the country, the sea has been quite benign. Therefore, the surfcasters have been able to get out and about. Off the east coast, plenty of grey boys are coming in at the moment if you're into surfcasting. Place to be is Kaikoura if you want a bit of variety. Off the wharf down there, they're still getting moki and around the rocks and weeds. Also, snapper have been caught around Banks Peninsula, Canterbury, and further south towards the Rakai. So that's interesting.
Does that mean that they're off the mating sort of train?
Yeah, by now they've pretty much finished their spawning cycle.
So it's time to eat?
Well, it's time for them to eat, so it's time for you to get the baits out and go for the big baits, because at the moment, with autumn looming, they want to stack on their fat contents for the winter, so they start going into a feeding frenzy. Now, the good thing if you are a snapper fisherman is that once you locate them at this time of the year, they pretty much don't move around like they do in the spring. So they're pretty stationary. They begin this gradual drift out to deeper water, but that's not going to happen until around May. So we've still got a couple of months of good fishing up our sleeves, and once you locate them, you can go back to the same area time and time again and get into them. The secret is big baits at this time of the year because, as I said, they're stacking on that fat, and so you want whole pilchards or big slabs of bait out there with a large hook.
And reports of marlin off the west coast.
Yeah, I didn't really want to go into that in too much detail.
No, only because you want to catch them.
Well, I'd like to be. Wouldn't it be great to be the first person to land a genuine South Island marlin?
Yeah.
Now, it will happen. Coming up in the show, we talked to a man who actually got very, very close to landing a marlin, except it got off. And
Yeah, I've done that too.
Got off.
Yeah. No.
What?
Carry on.
All right. You're confusing me because we have no script today. But talking to Leigh Kelly from Wildcat Charters will be with us a little bit later in the show. And he also wants to take you out to target albacore tuna. Why? Because there's plenty in the bay. More of that in a moment.
And I tell you what, they're great fish to fight. Really good fish to fight. I've caught a couple.
So you're an instant expert.
Absolutely, like every other fisherman that's caught one fish.
I know. But they are fun, aren't they? They're quite addictive.
They're very, very addictive. The thing is, and I was telling someone this the other day, that laughing at me, which isn't out of the ordinary, but when I was pulling one of those, the albacore up, because they've got big, long side fins, I actually thought I'd hooked a penguin.
They do look very penguinese.
They really look very, very much penguinese. All right. Hey, look, a little bit of cray action in Kaikoura.
There has been indeed, and a special congratulation goes out this week to Doug Powell. Doug was fishing off the wharf in Kaikoura using mullet for bait, targeting whatever you target with mullet, and he caught a crayfish. So he was quite happy. We've got the story, the full story and the photograph looming in the next issue of the fishing paper. And those people in Canterbury, if you're into diving, get out round Banks Peninsula because the crays are thick there at the moment and they're all big ones. So there's plenty of fishing action out there on the water.
And if you do get some, you're more than welcome to send them to me and Crimpy here.
Oh, indeed. Taste testing.
Tide's next.